All right, to start here, this is a text conversation. This is not mine. This is a client of mine. His text convo, I'm going to show you two in this. And the purpose of this is to teach you some fine-tuning that you can do in your own texting with women. And I'm going to loop this one under ending conversations. That is a really important skill you can do in your texting I talk about it in the 5 Principles of Texting Women ebook. So if you haven't read that, read it first off. But if you have and you glossed over this part, reread it, because I personally forget to do this sometimes. I get lazy, but when I do it, it works wonders. This is one of those things that, especially if your text game isn't really on, do this. Try this out. Ending conversations. You're going to have to go through this video with me because I'll talk about some other tips and techniques as we go. But that is the main focus. Ending conversations. Don't forget about that. It's very powerful, and you're going to see why. So let's get into this. All right, she's gray. He is the blue. So it started with like, yes, sir. I'm jealous. What are you going to Nashville for? He responds, I like this, took 13 minutes to respond. For a wedding, skip the baby showers and come with. Way more fun. All right, I like this. Playful. You're just kind of teasing her, just being a little playful with it. It sounds way more fun. I so would, except I'd probably get murdered if I missed the baby shower alone. That's pretty funny. Remember, this is the girl. So she replied 5 minutes after his text. Here's one little quick note right here for you, Chris, is this mirror texting. Now, I know you might not have to be super nitpicky, you might think, but I'm telling you, unless you have perfect text game, these things matter when you're dealing with women. They don't even consciously know this. Women watching this will say, this is stupid, I don't think about it. But the point is, you want to take longer to reply than women are taking to you. That is how you can gauge a woman's interest in you, is if she takes a long time to reply, so should you. You're giving her space, and then when she's really excited to text you, she'll reply quicker. That is your gauge. So that's just a small thing. You replied 3 minutes after. She took 5 minutes to reply to you. But I know you, Chris. You know that. That's not a huge deal unless it becomes a pattern. Now, here's the other thing. This didn't matter in this instance because she played along. Okay, but just for anyone else seeing this, but getting murdered would definitely be worth the trip. Sometimes you gotta live dangerously. I like this line if you knew this girl. Now, because you met her online, and we see that she replied to this, so it was fine. But if she didn't reply, it's because I don't ever mess around with murder or any of that stuff with a girl online, because there are some creepy stories about stalkers and weirdos and all that stuff. That's just a quick little thing for you guys. Stay away from the murder stuff if you don't really know a woman. But it was fine, so no big deal. My friend left the oven on in our apartment for 12 hours last night. I got blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the next text. All right, so here's the next text. And actually, from the last text of this one, I believe that it was you replied like 3 minutes after she did, Chris. So this is now 2 in a row, or 2 already in this conversation, where you're replying quicker than her. Again, it's like don't live or die necessarily by that. But if you're not getting responses like you want, these are things that are important. And so again, just wait that extra couple minutes to reply. So she replied 1 minute after. Awesome. That's good. But whoa, sounds like you're living on the edge. Just blessed to be alive right now. Ha ha. Okay, so this right here, this territory now. Now that we're seeing this is now like almost forcing it, right? Because there's nothing, just blessed to be alive right now, ha ha ha. There is nothing right now that is urgent for you to reply to. There's no question she asked you. There's nothing you need to do here to text her. Early on with women that you just met online and you want to keep that mystery alive, she's interested right now enough that you have her phone number from online dating. So now you want to really show her that you're not clingy. You're just going to give her space. And since this basically showed, okay, there's not really much going on right now, here's what you want to think about. How can I now end the conversation? How can I end this conversation and just stop it right now and then just relax for a bit, and you can always start the conversation back up later. This is huge. Remember, those of you listening, Chris, you listening, we just got off our phone coaching call and talked about this, so you now know that this is important. Those guys that are watching this, this is in the principles of texting, but I know this for a fact. Most guys brush this one over and don't think to do this. Most guys don't want to close a door by ending the conversation. They kind of think that, once you end the conversation, she's going to forget about you. No, you want to close the door, let her open it up again. So this is where the territory where I go, okay, now how can I end this conversation? Because here's the deal. You're in Nashville right now, which is not your home state. You're at a wedding. You should be having tons of fun, right? You had a good conversation already, just like a little playful banter, but now it's becoming forced. So these are the times where you go, I'm going to end the conversation. So here's how you could do it. Just supposed to be live right now, hi. Right here, what I would do is maybe I would take a while to reply, and if she didn't text me again, then I would just say something like, well, good luck surviving the weekend. I gotta get, I gotta hang out with the boys or whatever. Let me know if you text me to let me know you survived. You could even say something like that. You don't even have to, but the idea is you eject from the conversation because you're doing something cool. Let her then go, whoa, all right, he's done. Now she is going to be like, wait, okay, I kind of like talking to him. So you're leaving the conversation before it gets dull for both of you. You're leading by example here by being like, all right, I'm off doing something fun, so should you. And now here's the cool thing. When you do this, those of you watching, guys, the more conversations you end like this, when you don't have to force it in, but we went over this. He's doing something cool. Their conversation got kind of in a lull. That is the perfect time to end the conversation. Again, reread that part in the principles of texting. I believe it's in principle 1. Yeah, ending conversations. Guys, trust me, you do this more often, and what will happen is in a day or a couple days, what she will do is that gives her enough time to miss you, and now she will text you, hey, how was your weekend? Did you survive? She will come after you when you end that conversation, because you're now setting that kind of, hey, you're basically waving a flag without saying this to her, without saying this to him, and you're like, hey, I'm a cool guy. I'm busy. I got stuff going on. I'm not going to stalk you. That is like the unwritten message you're sending, and she loves that and then wants to find out more about you. Guys, try ending the conversation, and you will see it works if you give it time and patience. In worst case scenario, she doesn't text you again, Chris, for a couple days. You could always text her again if you wanted. A few days later, it'd be better if she came after you, but you could just say, oh, now that I recovered from the week, did you survive as well? You could always come back in. So that's the other part, is don't worry about, when you end it, you can always come back in if you need to a few days later. All right, now, even though that didn't happen, I wanted you all to see that was a possibility, because now you're going to see, if you're alive by the time I get back, maybe we can make plans then. See, kind of the same idea, not bad, but it's also a little bit like maybe we can make plans, like maybe you'll like me. I know it's really not bad, but I'm just giving you any nitpicky thing I can here. It feels a tiny bit weak to me. Not a lot, but just a little bit. If you had to say that, I would just say, if you're alive by the time I get back, we'll make plans then. Just even that subtle difference is maybe we can make plans. It's like, we'll make plans. That's that like strong kind of masculine image. Again, that's just nitpicky. Look at this. Of course, I'm more concerned about you making it back alive. All right, that was a pretty good little excitement that she had from there. But again, you see how these are kind of forced. There was nothing we needed to say here. And then right here, definitely. After this, I would have said right here, instead of I appreciate your concern, we shall see. There's no value in this one. This is, so a couple texts ago when I would have ended it is because I've done this a million times. I just know that if there's nothing good to say, don't, that the old cliche, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. If you have nothing of value to say, don't say it at all when you're texting women. And this one has just zero value. I appreciate your concern. We shall see. I'm not harping on you guys. If you're watching this and you send texts like these all the time, I'm not harping on you guys. I understand why we do this. We're told that we should. This is just, it's just backwards, and just trust in the rules, because I've done this with hundreds of women. And then she said, make me proud down there. We'll get to the next text. Okay, this is the third and final text from this little conversation. Okay, so Saturday. So after that last little, there was nothing to reply to type thing, Chris started with Jessica, Christopher. Now, here's the cool thing is you're doing a lot of things right, Chris. Is like when you're texting shorter. You're not over-explaining yourself. You're leaving some mystery. All that is very good stuff. Just the beauty of learning this is there's always more to learn. There's always little things you can do to improve everything that, and this is why those of you that look at certain texts, some guys see texts I have where women are like way into me, and some guys go, those are fake, or some guys go, that can never happen to me. And I understand why, because a lot of texts, the game is so opposite of all these little things we're seeing right here, and Chris is doing a lot of things right, but a lot of these little things, when you do all of this stuff right, and you do it all right in person, and you have this all going for you, that is why I get the texts I get, is because I don't make little mistakes. So again, everything you're doing here, everything you see, everything you're hearing that's new to you for the first time, instead of going, crap, this sucks, I don't want to text anymore, it's too many things to think about it this way. Every little tiny thing that you're learning is going to make every part of your conversation better. It's a compound effect. It's like a snowball. You do one little thing right, she replies a little more eager, a little better. She replies quicker. You do another little thing right, it gets better. I'm telling you guys, it gets better and better, but you got to be willing to learn and grow. Chris, I know you are, which is why you're in the VIP membership and personal coaching. Now, okay, here we go. So Chris started off with boom, Jessica, Christopher. And again, of course, I always want women to chase me, but here's the deal with this. If you started with this Jessica thing, if you would have ended the conversation, 3 texts ago, then this right here would have been textbook awesome, totally fine. She didn't text you for 3 days. You ended the conversation. Now you can come back with this line. So that is a good example of you're doing a lot of stuff right, but if you ended the conversation, either she would have reached out to you first, which is always better, or you would have came in, with this Jessica thing after she was already wondering about you for a few days. There isn't enough ibuprofen in the world for what I'm dealing with right now. All right, so there's one thing right there. Jessica, she took 6 minutes. Okay, so now your reply was 2 minutes. Again, these little things add up. All this stuff compounds over time. You don't have to play it perfectly all the time, but when you are starting with a new girl, you always want to play it as good as possible at the start, and that helps you set the pace of your interactions with her for the rest of your time, basically. So that's another little thing about the time piece is, just wait that extra, she took 6 minutes. You can take 6 minutes to reply back to her. All right, that's one thing, but I love this. I love this right here. There isn't enough ibuprofen in the world for what I'm dealing with right now. Beautiful. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a great text to send women. This idea that, you are playful, you are kind of joking, you're joking around, but you're also not over explaining yourself. We can all read this. There's enough ibuprofen in the world for what I'm dealing with right now. She knew you were in Nashville. We see this. We obviously know you've been having fun partying and now you're hungover. That's the idea of sending texts like that leave mystery and you don't over explain yourself to women. Let them read between the lines. Really well done, Chris. Again, all of this stuff would be better had you ended the conversation earlier, and taking your time on these little things to reply to. And then, so I take it Nashville is going well. See, she understood what you were saying there. But then you see right here, she replied 10 minutes later, which, again, it's good that right here you backed off. You took 45 minutes to reply. I think you saw kind of the pattern as well because we've talked about this before. But this is why, again, you play it. The better you play it at the start, the less, everything gets better when you are following these principles. And then right here, so I take it Nashville is going well. Of course, have you been here? See, here's where it all goes, kind of, because the conversation was never ended. It's just this long, drawn out conversation is what it feels like, and then it becomes kind of boring. Again, each individual text you're sending, you're doing the right thing on individual text, but when you look at it from a wider margin, a bigger picture, none of these texts needed to even be sent. The good news is, when you're texting her, you have the right idea of what type of text to send, not going too long and all that. It's understanding there was no need to send these texts in the first place, and the less you text, the more she wonders about you. The less you text, now again, she has to be bought in first for this to work, but she's bought in because you have her phone number. You went from online dating to her phone number. She's bought in. You can tell by how she's texting you back. So the better you get about ending those conversations, not sending those fluff texts, which are just like keeping conversations going. Those are ways that are going to get her eager to respond. She's going to be wanting to hear from you instead of, of course, have you been here? No, but my cousin lives there. I should. Okay, so it's like, again, these are conversations in person. Great. Have you ever been to Nashville? No, I haven't. My cousin lives there. Oh, yeah? Tell me about your cousin. What's your family dynamic like? These are great things in person to just have these conversations that go really well. But over text, those become boring. No one wants to sit there and type out these texts, these conversations over text that they could have in person. So these are all kind of just alluding to text less, get her more excited to hang out with you in person. And then, but even there, so you took 45 minutes to reply. Now look at this. She took 2 hours exactly to reply. And then you went from Saturday to Sunday. And so now what's happening, and again, this is what does happen, and actually a lot of my conversations are like this. Like I said, I don't always follow this because I get kind of lazy. Because if I don't reply, usually a girl will text me again because she knows I won't reply. So I get in this rut sometimes too, where I just don't end conversations, but the smart move is to end them, because now it's like, no, but my cousin lives there, I should. And now it's amazing. You should have came down and crashed this wedding I was at. It's like, what is she going to reply to that? Again, back it all the way up. Your text game is good, but you end the conversation a long time ago, and have these conversations when they're necessary or in person. Let her wonder about you instead of keeping it going throughout the weekend, because you should be in Nashville with your buddies, partying, having a good time, drinking mimosas right now, instead of texting her. Yeah. All right. That is one of the texts. This video became longer. I was going to do 2 conversations in one. Became a lot longer than I thought. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to watch the next video I'm doing of this, a different conversation with Chris, you can join my VIP membership. It's all in there. There's so much stuff in there ready for you right away. Everything on YouTube is old stuff that I put out. Like you'll see, I'm going to put out text conversations from 2017. These are all stuff because I keep adding new stuff to my VIP members. My membership has all of this stuff that you see the oldest stuff on YouTube. I want to help everybody, but of course you better know I'm going to help my private members out first. So if you're sitting here watching this, you want more, or you're just like, hey, I'm learning, I want to learn faster, join the VIP membership. I have so much content in here on every situation that you can see how I respond to these. You can see when I go over text examples like this, and it's really going to help you. So Chris, thanks again, and just know you're doing a lot of things right, but I'm always going to be honest and try to give you the best way possible, and I've been doing this for so long that I'm always going to find little ways to make it better. Anyway, and then I will also have the other video ready for you VIP members. You can just go in the VIP membership, and I'll have it under, I don't know, either one of the text example tabs or the personal coaching replay tabs. You'll find it in there. I'll send an email out to you, private members. All right, love you all. Yeah, if you're just chilling on YouTube and you want a personal coaching session, go to my website, textingprince.com/coaching. We can do an hour video session. That is about just the quickest way to just sit down and talk with you and get right to the point. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe. Peace.